Good afternoon, almost said good morning, and welcome to Raucous Plum Computer Consulting's webinar series. As always, we will be recording this and it will post to our YouTube channel and our website later this week. Now, my name is Kelly Bergman, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to Ken Knight, Senior Solutions Consultant for VBCC. It's a mouthful. Ken's been working with Sage for over 25 years, and CRM is one of his passions. Hopefully you saw him last week or last month in the alerts and workflow. So we thought he did such a great job, we made him do another one. As always, if you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to put them in the Q&A if it seems relevant. I will interrupt, probably not, but try to interrupt Ken during that. Otherwise, there's always the chat as well. And with that, I'm going to let Ken take the floor.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to the webinar. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. And you should all now be seeing a slide entitled Evolution of CRM. I don't normally like to start with PowerPoint presentations, but there are just 3 slides that I've got because I just want to go over a few items that are not related to the software itself per se and its functionality, but just kind of talk a little bit about CRM in general and then Sage CRM specifically. So the first thing I want to talk about is the evolution of CRM. CRM started years ago simply as contact management. So if you think about Outlook, where you have a list of contacts, that's where this whole etymology began, as way back when with just contacts. That then evolved into Salesforce automation. And that is the concept of having a pipeline of sales opportunities and keeping track of everything related to what we're doing sales-wise. The next step beyond that, and where we are at today, is customer relationship management. And with customer relationship management, we're taking into account not just sales efforts, but supporting our existing customers and making sure that we are optimizing our interactions with them in all aspects of our contacts with them. That's where we start talking about, what does a CRM package actually do? Well, the first thing that CRM does, and one of the primary benefits of it, is the fact that a CRM software will eliminate silos of information. So what do I mean by that? I always use an example of, say we have 2 salespeople, John and Jane. They both have their own book of business. They both have their own customers that they deal with. And let's say that John then goes on medical leave or takes an extended vacation in Europe for 2 months. Something a little better than medical leave. And now Jane is tasked with having to take on the accounts that John has been responsible for that period of time. Well, absent some sort of package that provides a central repository for notes and emails and documents that have been sent to that book of business that John has, Jane is pretty much in deep doo-doo. She does not necessarily know what John has been doing with the customers or even with the prospects. And that's something that CRM can eliminate, is that silo of information. We can get rid of John having all of his communications in just his Outlook that Jane wouldn't have access to, or just on his laptop that maybe he took with him. Now we can put all of that information into CRM, and everybody who has appropriate rights can access it. It does that. It eliminates the silos of information by providing much greater visibility of what's going on with your customers and with your prospects. It will also enable more optimized workflows for marketing, for sales, and for customer service teams. And hopefully you'll see that once I get into the demo here. So what about Sage CRM specifically? And just to give you a little bit of background on myself, this is the 5th CRM package that I've worked with in my career. I started out working with Goldmine, worked with ACT, with SalesLogix, with Microsoft CRM, and now with Sage CRM. And Sage CRM is as good or better than any of those solutions. It's a really, really powerful package. But first and foremost, Sage CRM is an on-premise CRM solution. So it's not software as a service. It actually would be installed locally, but it can be hosted. So you could pay for a hosting service and have CRM on their servers, which would allow you to access it from anywhere. That's actually how we use it at Brackus Plum, is we have our Sage CRM that we use internally hosted. It is browser-based. Okay, so when properly configured, it can be accessed from a smartphone or a tablet. Now, when we talk about that, if you install it on premise, there's some work that we would need to do with your IT or hosting firm to make sure that's done in a secure manner, but it's absolutely doable. Again, the way that ours is set up, we're using a hosting service. I can access it right now from my cell phone, and it doesn't require installing an app because the system automatically recognizes the device that's connecting to it and reformats the screens properly. If you are currently on Sage 100, you most likely own Sage CRM already with a single user license and out-of-the-box integration with Sage 100. Sage made the decision quite a few years ago that if you have Sage 100, we're going to give you Sage CRM and a single user. I'm going to show you Sage CRM and the out-of-the-box integration with Sage 100 today. There is a more robust third-party Sage 100 integration available also, as well as integration with Sage Intacct. And I think one of the most important points to realize is that Sage CRM can be implemented as thinly or as robustly as you'd like. That's entirely up to you. It is an incredibly robust product, but you don't have to use all aspects of it. I have many clients that simply use it in a customer service aspect. They don't have their salespeople actually tracking opportunities in the system. Their customer service people are using it to track communications with existing customers. I have other clients that do the inverse. The salespeople are using it. There's a lot of different ways that you can use this, and you can utilize just those pieces that make the most sense for you and your business. So with that being said, let's take a look at Sage CRM. As I had mentioned, Sage CRM is browser-based. I happen to be running this in Firefox. And when I come in, I have it set so that my default view is my dashboard. This is the administrator dashboard. One of the things you'll notice is it does have a link to a Sage CRM video channel. If you are at all interested in Sage CRM, I would highly recommend you go out to YouTube. This is an international product. It was actually originally developed in Northern Ireland, and there is a very, very extensive catalog of Sage CRM videos that are out there and available for you to view for free. I've also set up a sales dashboard for myself. Whoop, there we go. See, I should have logged on before I did the demo. You have to love that. Let it time out on me. So this is my sales dashboard. You can create new dashboards, as many as you would like. Individual users can create their own dashboards. You can also populate those dashboards with gadgets, and you can create your own gadgets. You'll notice here that I'm showing a list of my open opportunities, my calendar that's going to show my appointments and calls that I need to make, the status of the opportunities that are assigned to me. Here are my companies and my contacts, and these are linked lists. So when I click on a specific company, it updates the contacts to show me just those contacts associated with that company. You can even create gadgets to put on a Sage CRM dashboard from HTML pages, basically web pages that could come from Sage Intelligence, can generate those for you, as well as Sage Alerts and Workflow can generate those HTML pages that can be embedded into a dashboard in Sage CRM. So what I'd like to do now is talk a little bit about the entities that exist within Sage CRM. What are some of the parts that are here? When we're talking about entities, we're talking about things such as companies and persons. When this is linked with Sage 100, we can dump your Sage 100 customers into companies, their associated contacts in as persons, and we can send all of their addresses, bill to and ship to addresses, into Sage CRM as well. But you can also have companies set up in Sage CRM who are not yet customers. And that's something I'll talk a little bit more about when I talk about the Sage 100 integration, because you can actually do quotes in the system for companies in Sage CRM who are not yet customers in Sage 100. This is a great way to keep from creating a huge list of customers in Sage 100 simply so that you can generate a quote. But in reality, they're not actually customers yet. Some of the other entities that we have are cases and solutions. A case is something that we utilize. If one of you call in with a support issue, we will more than likely open up a case to track that support issue. We could also utilize solutions. That essentially is an internal knowledge base of potential solutions or fixes to problems that come in as cases. But again, if you don't want to use solutions and cases, you do not have to. Now, one nice thing about a case is view it not so much as like a computer or a technical issue, but perhaps a customer calls in to your customer service department and says, hey, I'm having a problem with a product, or I'm just having a problem in general and I need help. You could utilize cases to track that, because one of the other aspects that is built into the system is you can put in escalation rules. Escalation rules are something along the lines of, if this case is not resolved complete within 48 hours, then we're going to generate emails and send those out to the appropriate people saying, hey, this case hasn't been resolved. Somebody needs to do something. And then another 48 hours after that, we'll send that further up the chain to make sure that those support cases get resolved. But again, if you don't wish to use cases and solutions, you do not have to. Opportunities are your more traditional approach to Salesforce automation, where salespeople are putting opportunities into the system and we're tracking how we're doing as far as progressing those to a closed sale. One thing that you'll see with the integration with Sage 100 is out of the box, if you do a quote or an order, it's going to be housed inside of an opportunity. And you will see that after a little bit. We also can deal with leads in the system. Now, I have always viewed leads as being essentially a name on a list. Perhaps you purchase a list from a list broker. That might be a little old-fashioned, but it could still happen. That list of possible customers could be imported into Sage CRM as leads. And you can establish within CRM workflows. And you can apply a workflow to leads that basically would walk you through the steps that it would take to qualify that lead. You could disqualify it and then close the lead down, or you could qualify the lead and then convert it into a company, a person, and an associated opportunity in the system. You might also get, if you do trade shows, most of the time when you're doing a trade show, the organization hosting that trade show will provide you with a list of the people who attended the trade show, or at the very least, if people have to scan in at your booth, you will have a list of the people who scanned in at your booth. Those could be brought in as leads. You could set outbound phone calls, email campaigns, qualify the lead, disqualify it, turn it into a company person opportunity, work the opportunity, and hopefully have that as closed won. We can also do everything that would be related to a calendar, an appointment, a task, an email, etc., merges to Word, merges to PDF, etc. You'll notice at the top that we have some things here, My CRM, Team CRM, etc. So I want to talk a little bit about the concept of My CRM. Each individual person in CRM can have their own dashboard. You're seeing mine. This is going to show me my calendar, my contacts, the people that I have chosen to be a contact. And it's important to note that contacts in Sage CRM are people, they're persons, but they are set up individually as contacts for one or more people. So there's a one-to-many relationship there. One person in Sage CRM can be a contact for multiple different Sage CRM users. I can have a list look at my calendar. These are my leads, my outbound calls, my opportunities, etc. On down the list. There is also the concept of Team CRM. You can assign users to teams. As we had talked about, you might have a sales team. You might have a customer service team. And when someone is assigned to a member of a team, then they would have the ability to see the calendar of all of the team members, all of the leads that are assigned to that team, all the opportunities, cases, etc. So you can group people while still eliminating those silos of information. It doesn't mean that I can't access something else on somebody else's team, but it does mean that I have a very quick view if I need to potentially assign something to somebody else, maybe an outbound call to somebody else on the customer service team. I have the ability to do that because I have visibility of their availability. With reports, there are lots of canned reports in the system, but it's very easy to create your own report. And I'm going to come back to that later if time allows, because we've got a lot to show you. Marketing. One of the things that you can do in marketing is you can create a campaign. A campaign can then be linked to leads, opportunities, orders, etc. Let's go back to the example of a trade show. You sign up for a trade show, you can create a campaign in the system for that specific trade show, and you can input into the system, how much did this cost me? Maybe $30,000. I had to rent the booth, I had to pay $500 for the electrician to hook up the power. We had hotel meals, etc. So $20,000 to go to the trade show. Well, if I then link any leads that come in to that campaign, I can then do that cradle to grave analysis. I paid 30 grand for the trade show. I had these leads come in. They turned into these opportunities, which turned into these sales. What did I net from those sales? So you can do a very easy return on investment calculation as far as, was it worth it to go to that trade show? We can also do email marketing and email blasts. The system works with MailChimp. So if you're using MailChimp now, we can link the two. MailChimp is a very easy to use, very powerful marketing system that comes with a free plan that allows you to have up to 2,000 subscribers. It's amazing what they will give you for free. If you link MailChimp to Sage CRM, what you would do is create your list of people that you want to send this email marketing to, whether it's to prospects or whether it's the monthly newsletter to existing clients. It really doesn't matter what it is. But you would create the list in Sage CRM, upload it to MailChimp, create the marketing piece within MailChimp, the actual email that's going to go out. And then when you send it out, all of the information as far as who opened it, did they click through on a particular link in the email, etc., all that open, click through, that kind of metrics from MailChimp will be returned back into Sage CRM. So you'll be able to go into your CRM and see how effective was this email marketing campaign. Some of the other things that you're going to see over here, well, first, I'll come back and talk about the search in just a little bit. We also have notifications in the system. Okay, notifications can either be on screen, in which case I would have a little indicator here next to this saying, hey, you have a notification. We can also set up notifications in the system that would send an email to one or more persons. You can flag particular things in Sage CRM. Again, it is browser-based as a favorite. You also have the ability to track your recents. So you're going to see that here are some companies that I have recently gone to, some leads, a person that I've been on recently, etc. It's a very quick way to get there. The last little icon here is going to be for the profile and gets me to some administration tasks, my personal preferences, etc. As far as the search is concerned, it's very easy to find things here. All you have to do is start typing. So if I start typing in American Business, I will see two companies here, American Business Computers and American Business Futures. But I also have the ability to get into an even more robust search, where by hitting this drop-down arrow, I say I want to look for a company, a person, or whatever. And it takes me to a very detailed search screen where I can search by company name. You can use the percent as a wild card, find whatever you would like. These screens also are customizable. You can add user-defined fields into the system. You can add those fields here to your search screen. So if there's something other than company name, email, area code, city, maybe you want state, anything you can imagine can be added to a specific search screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to American Business Futures, which is one of the companies that is set up in the system. Again, screens are customizable. You can add whatever fields you would like here to gather whatever information you might want. You can also add additional tabs up at the top. We can create custom entities in the system. We have one that we have set up for our customers called Assets, and we use that to track what software you have. And that's done using a canned customization tool that comes with the software. So let's take a quick look at the tabs across the top that you're going to see in companies, but you're also going to see these in pretty much every other entity in the system. So this is our summary tab, shows us our company name, the type, customer, status, their primary address, and their primary contact information. Okay. The quick look screen gives us an idea of recent communications, recent opportunities, and if there are any cases, again, if there's other things that you would like to see, they can be added here. Narrative is a new addition with the 2023 release of Sage CRM. And what narrative is, this uses a type of artificial intelligence to generate and display this narrative report. This is kind of an executive summary and gives you some business insights for each of the company, taking into account sales, customer service, and communication data for this particular company. And it's in a short, easy to read format. The dashboard, we had already seen my CRM dashboard, but you actually can have a company-based dashboard that, again, can be customized, create your own gadgets, drop that in on the company. Totally customizable. Notes is literally just your ability to add notes on that particular customer or company. I'm going to come back to notes and a couple other things at the contact level or the personal level to show you that there. Same thing with communications. This is where you're going to see your tasks, your appointments, your emails. You can email directly out of the system. It can integrate with Outlook as well. These are going to be any of the opportunities for that particular company. Any of the cases, any of the people that are associated with it, And by the way, to drill into any of these things, all you have to do is click. These are all hyperlinks. If I then want to go back, I can use the back button on my browser to go back. Very easy to navigate. Addresses. So this would be the primary billing as well as multiple ship to addresses.
And I'm going to just interrupt real quick here. Does it
Yeah.
integrate with Gmail as well as?
I mean, you can definitely send out of Gmail, out using Gmail, as far as like seeing those outgoing things in your Gmail, that I would have to look into.
Perfect. We'll get back to you on that one, Maggie. Thanks, Ken. Sorry.
Oh, no, not a problem. Feel free to interrupt. I like taking questions on the fly. Relationships. What relationships do is this gives you the ability to establish relationships between different entities within Sage CRM. Typical examples would be something like a parent company and its subsidiary, or a person who is on the board of directors of multiple different companies, or companies in the system and their suppliers. You can establish types of relationships. You know, this is a parent company and a subsidiary type relationship, and then assign those to the entities in the system. We have phone, email information. Documents, you have the ability to drag and drop documents into the system. So if you have something that you had sent to them, or perhaps they sent you a request for a proposal that you wanted to keep on a particular company record, or on a person record, or on a case record, or opportunity, you can simply drag and drop it here, and this will then become the repository for that. Self-service, there is the ability, and the system does come with a very basic self-service website that is intended to be built upon. I don't want to say that that's a basic sort of thing, but you could have it on your website where someone could open up a case on the website and it would come directly into Sage CRM as a case. You could also have it where if they inquire about your company, you know, like contact us for more information on your website, that could automatically come into Sage CRM as a lead. And inquiries I'm going to come back to because this is part of the Sage 100 integration. And these are Business Insight Explorer views from Sage 100. So I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. But from here, what I'd like to do is I'm going to go to, for American Business Futures, I'm going to come over to People, and let's take a look at Artie Johnson, which if you remember laugh in, you might chuckle a little bit. Very similar across the top, where I have a quick look for the person, notes, communications, opportunities, cases, address, phone, email, pretty much the same sort of thing, but it does roll up. So if I come in here to Artie Johnson and I say that I want to add a new note, okay, so here's the note that I just added. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And what you'll find is now if I go up to the company and go to the notes, here is that note. So the company then becomes a container for any notes, communications, and things for any of the people, any of the contacts that are related to that specific company. Again, I can use my back arrows, and I'm right back on Artie Johnson. Same sort of thing with communication. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a new appointment, and I'm going to give the appointment a subject. It may not be terribly visible, but there is a blue asterisk next to the subject. That is a required field. Again, you can customize the system. You can make certain fields required, others not. Same sort of thing as far as these actions. These are considered drop-down lists, and you can edit these to be whatever you would like to have in your installation. It's always fun during these demos to try to think of something to type in as a subject. But I'm going to go ahead and make this a phone out. Okay, so here are the details. And let's go ahead and set this for today, but let's set it for, let's do 3:30 p.m. We'll do 3:30 to 4 today. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. So now I have my phone out appointment. Again, if I go to American Business Future and I go to communications, here's my phone out appointment. But even better than that, if I go to my CRM calendar, here is my phone out appointment. And there are multiple different calendar views available, by the way, the work week, the month, and the agenda view is actually kind of cool because this gives you just simply a scrolling list based on date of what it is that you need to do. Once you're talking to Artie and you want to take some notes, you can click on that. You know, here's the details. To discuss an upgrade. Holy cow, I'm having a good typing day too. So what I can do is I can set this as complete, but if I like, I can create a follow-up appointment or a follow-up opportunity or task. And if I click on create a follow-up appointment, it will go ahead and bring up the screen so that I can put the time and date that I want to make that call. And again, I can go to my back keys. I can go to my recents. Let's go back to Artie Johnson. And I can filter it based on all statuses. That can be set automatically to all. And there it is. Called Artie about the email he sent me yesterday, and that thing is done. Some of the other stuff that you can do here is, as I'd mentioned, drag a document in. And you can literally just say add a file, or you can drag one over here. Now I'm going to have to size my screen a bit, and I'm going to move it temporarily. And I have this document of EDI transaction types, and I'm literally just dragging it over to that spot where it said drag and drop the thing here. Okay. And when I do that, it wants to know what type of document is this? Is this a proposal, a purchase order? Again, the kind of thing that you guys can modify yourself. I'm going to say this is a brochure. It can be a sales brochure. That's fine. The status is an interesting thing because this has come in as final. But if I left this thing as draft or in progress, then I could check this document out, make changes to it, and check it back in. This almost becomes a little bit like a document management program at a very, very, very high level. But I did utilize this at a reseller that I worked at where we also use Sage CRM. And we had a client where we had an Excel spreadsheet of everything we needed to do for them. And we left that thing as a draft so that I could check it out and make changes, check it back in, and then Dave could check it out and he could make changes. But the interesting thing is if I had it checked out, if Dave went to check it out, it would say, you can't do anything with this. Ken currently is working on it. So we're going to go ahead and just call that EDI transactions, and I think I am good to go. So now under documents, here is my EDI transactions. And if I actually click on this, there it is. There's the document that I just saved in.
I have a question.
Yes.
Would this connect with our phone system to pull up customers and prospects when they call in?
Ooh, that's a good question. We would have to find out what kind of phone system it is. Because really what you're talking about is a TAPI integration. We would have to look into that. I'm very familiar with what you're talking about, but we'd have to dig into the details on that.
You have the great questions today, Maggie. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. That is an excellent question. And Kelly, I'm going to rely upon you to keep track of these, to keep me honest.
I absolutely will.
Awesome. Now, one of the other things I wanted to point out here on the individual person is this consent. When we're talking about consent, this is permission from the person to send them marketing materials, essentially the marketing opt-in control. Sage CRM being international, it meets all of the requirements in the United States as well as the European GDPR standards. So you can track, yes, this person has given me consent to go ahead and send them marketing information. With all of the privacy laws that are in place that are getting stronger and stronger, that matters. So let's talk a little bit about the out-of-the-box Sage 100 integration, because there is quite a bit there. I'm going to come back to American Business Futures real quick, and then I'm going to come into Sage. For any of you guys with Sage 100, you've probably wondered, what the heck is this customer relationship management module in Sage? Well, what this is, obviously it's not CRM, because CRM is its own product, but this is where we configure some options. So other than the technical, here's how the two connect. We also have some controls about allowing changes in Sage CRM to update in Sage 100, customer name, customer billing address, contacts related to primary people, contacts related to other people, and customers shipped to addresses. For demo purposes, I have all of these turned on, but I will say that most of my clients will turn off these first two for sure, and potentially even the third one. The reason they'll do this is they don't necessarily want someone in a sales capacity changing a customer name or a customer billing address without accounting being told first. For some reason, accounting is bothered if somebody else is in changing billing addresses in their accounting software. Can't imagine why. So this tends to be a business process where, hey, if they get wind of the fact that a customer merged with another one and the name has changed or the billing address has changed, they need to send an email or contact accounting. Accounting can change it in Sage 100. That in turn will update CRM. The other configuration that we have are CRM company options. Now you can have multiple companies in your Sage 100 linked to Sage CRM without issue. The system will know what Sage 100 company this particular company or person record is associated with. So we have company options. Here for my ABC demo company, do we want to allow customer creation from Sage CRM? The interesting thing with Sage CRM is, as I had mentioned, you'll notice we have a prospect customer number. You can actually do quotes to companies that are not yet Sage 100 customers, and you can do that in Sage CRM. What will happen is all of those will come in as prospect quotes under this one prospect customer number in Sage 100. If we allow customer creation from Sage CRM, a CRM user can then, if that prospect calls in and says, yeah, I want to go with this quote, if they're allowed to, they can turn that prospect into a Sage 100 customer and turn that quote into an order, all within Sage CRM. But we have controls on that. Do you want to allow them to create that customer, or should it be done in Sage 100? If they do, we can set up customer templates which define things like, here are our default terms codes and things like that. So the customer gets created utilizing that template. We can automatically assign the customer number if you're using that function in Sage 100. You could have multiple templates set up, and you can or cannot allow the CRM user to choose which template to use. Can they do on-the-fly opportunities? Are we going to update partially invoiced orders in Sage CRM? And will we be automatically creating Sage CRM records when we add new customers and primary contacts, additional contacts, and ship to addresses in Sage 100? So in Sage 100, this customer relationship management module actually deals with the integration between Sage 100 and Sage CRM. So what does that look like? Well, let me go back to my summary here on American Business Futures. And you'll notice that down the right-hand side, I have some options for maintaining the relationship with Sage 100, RMA entry, or even launching customer maintenance. I will get my pop-up customer memo that's supposed to automatically display. And if I have rights, I'm in customer maintenance. You'll notice the suite number here. I'm going to go ahead and make this -100 and hit accept. The reason I'm doing that is this is an instantaneous integration. There's no syncing. You'll notice that just says 100A. I either need to go to a different tab and come back or refresh the screen. It's a browser, guys. And you'll see now it is 100A-100. So it is an instant integration. It's not something where every 2 hours it syncs up. It happens right away. So now that I'm on American Business Futures, let's say that they would like a quote. I come down here, and I'm going to do a new quote. And what it's going to do is it's going to launch the Sage 100 sales order entry screen. Whoop, actually, I get this screen first. This is where it says, as I had mentioned before, quotes and orders are housed in opportunities. It's going to say, do I want to link it to an existing Sage CRM opportunity, or do I want to create a new one? I'm just going to create a new one. When I hit proceed, now I'm in an order, which is a type of quote, linked to customer 01 ABF. The opportunity is going to be labeled on the fly quote 186, so we always know what order number it's referencing and which Sage CRM user created it. By the way, you can go the other direction. You can be in Sage 100 and create the opportunity in Sage CRM, and it will work that way as well.
Oh, I have another interruption quick.
Yes.
Sorry. If utilizing a quote and order like Shopify, the site, will it sync that data into CRM?
Potentially. I can definitely see how we could do that. Again, we'd have to dig in on the details. I don't know that if we automatically triggered on an import to assign the next opportunity number, we could use the standard integration. Could definitely do it if we were using the third-party enhanced integration. So yes, there is a way to do that.
So it would just take some customization then, right?
Well, we'd have to look at the import. I'd have to double check and make sure. I've never tried to, if I'm using the standard integration, I have to make sure that I can trigger creation of the opportunity when importing the order into Sage 100. Or with the third-party integration, it would just do it because it just shows all sales orders in Sage 100 in CRM.
Thank you. Sorry about the other. Keep interrupting.
No, you're good. You're good. Like I said, I like questions. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to accept this order. And what we'll now find if I go under opportunities is I now have this on the fly order, okay, number 186. If I go into that actual opportunity being its own entity, the opportunity can have its own notes, communications, documents, and we'll have some tracking related to that as well, as far as status changes on a sales opportunity. But if I come over to quotes, here is the actual quote that I just created. And again, a quote is an entity that can have its own notes, communications, documents, etc. But here is the content of that. I can actually view and edit it from here. And that will take me right back into it. If I add a comment line, hop over to notes, could have refreshed the page, come back to summary. Here's my comment line. Again, the instantaneous integration. And I have the ability from here to go ahead and promote this to an order. Okay, so by promoting it to an order, if I come back to my opportunity again, now it's going to be on the orders tab. So here's my order 186. And in Sage 100, that has been promoted to a sales order. Okay. So I had mentioned before when I was on the company record that there is this inquiries tab. The inquiries tab provides you with links to Business Insights Explorer views. So now if I go to my sales order view, you will see that order 186 that I just placed here on my sales order view. And for those of you using Sage 100, if you haven't played around with or used Business Insights Explorer, you should. This is a very, very powerful drag and drop business intelligence tool that you can do a lot with. Okay, a couple other things that I wanted to show and then loop back into reports. I had mentioned that in the system, we have the ability to do workflows and escalations. Okay, so escalation is pretty much what I had described, which is we need a case to be closed, resolved within 48 hours. You can even do service level agreements with cases. I mean, you can get very, very fancy. It's a powerful support tool. But we can say it has to be closed, resolved within 48 hours. Otherwise, we send an email. And after 56 hours, it's going to go ahead and send an email even further up the chain. That's really what escalations are. Workflows are just what you might expect. So if I take a look at this lead workflow, this is where you are actually defining, okay, when we start, what do we do? We're going to edit the lead. We can reassign it. We can process it to an assigned. If it's a new lead and once it's been assigned, we can rate it. We can create a callback. Based on the rating, we can either change the rating, close the lead, create another callback, etc. This is powerful. There's a lot to this, but how it manifests itself for the end user is if I come over to this particular lead, these are actions that are defined in that workflow. So it's a single click for someone using CRM based on the workflow of what do you want to do next. And when I go ahead and create a callback, that takes it to the next step in the workflow. It's a very powerful tool. Like I said, it's not the simplest thing to get set up, but once you have it set up, as far as the end user is concerned, it's very easy to use. And you'll notice here, by the way, here is our campaign wave activity. So this is part of the whole cradle to grave with a campaign and the ability to see how many leads we got that turned into how many orders, etc. Touching on reports. As I had mentioned, there are all kinds of reports that are available in Sage CRM. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to all my report categories, and you can categorize them. I'm going to go to sales, and let's take a look at the My Open Opportunities report. When you run any report, you can run it to the screen, you can export it to PDF, or you can export it to Excel. And there are different report formats that you can use. This one is both a list and a graph that's going to show me of those opportunities that are assigned to me. I've got 2 with proposal submitted, 1 with sale agreed. Okay, here they are. Let's go back to my reports, and there are also simply list reports. So if I simply want a list of the companies that are set up in the system by status, I can do that as well. I'll run that to the screen. That then becomes simply a huge list, which exports to Excel beautifully, by the way. And if you ever want to create your own report, it's very, very easy to do. So if I come back into General and say that I want to create a new report, what I'll do is give it a name. You choose your source view. What's the data that I actually want to pull? And in this case, I'm going to say I want company summary data. We'll do it as a standard report with grids. That's fine. And here is where you're building your report. And you have controls. What information do I want to add to the report contents? Do I want to have something that is search criteria? And I can sort on and I can group by. And it literally becomes a question of saying, okay, company name, I want that in the report contents. Let's see, let's go with my address 1 and have that in my report contents. My address 2. Let's have my zip code. We'll add that. And let's have my city and my state. And you say, oh, wait, I want the zip code down. So I can highlight that and simply move it down. You know, if I want to do search criteria, then I can put that in there and say, you know, oh, my company is in Ohio, something along those lines. So I will give it a title. Ken's company report. Column formatting, I'm just going to leave default and I'm going to save that. So now we have Ken's report, and when I run that, no search criteria. But here it is. Here is the company name, address 1, address 2, city, state, zip code, etc. 1 of 62 pages. Go to all the pages, go back, etc. And even from here, we can export to PDF if we wanted to. The only other thing that I was going to give a brief mention to is back on sales when we're talking about opportunities. And you actually can, in terms of Salesforce automation, set salesperson quotas, and you can see how they're tracking to their quota, etc. You can define your own steps in your sales pipeline. So if you utilize some sort of sales methodology, whether it be solution selling, whether it be Sandler's sales, and you want to follow the Sandler sales submarine, you can set up these stages to be whatever you want them to be. You can actually change this from being squares to actually looking like a pipeline. And when you click on one of these categories, it now highlights that category and automatically filters that there are 11 opportunities that are in the lead stage. There are 25 that are in the negotiating stage, etc. So I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what Sage CRM can bring to the table. It's a very powerful CRM tool that's very easy to use. And most of you probably already own it. So if there's anything that I've presented today that, you think would be of value to you guys, just let us know and we could spin up your Sage CRM for you to play with. I did that for one of our clients last week. Spun up the single user that it comes with, and they are now in testing and seeing if they would like to buy additional users and how it might help them grow their business.
So as Ken said, if you are on subscription and maybe even perpetual yet, you do get CRM as a module with one free user, free with your subscription. So you do own it already. It's just a matter of setting it up and configuring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super powerful. We use it internally here. In fact, I took some notes on things that Ken's going to fix in our system during this webinar. Sorry, Ken, created more work for yourself.
That's okay.
I do have one more question here. Can
Yes.
inquiry show available inventory as the Inventory Management Explorer report?
No, it doesn't do that in the out of the box, but it does with the third-party advanced integration. It will show you more in inventory.
Somebody did ask if it worked with Sage Intacct.
It does. There is a third-party integration for Sage Intacct.
And it also is a standalone. So if you don't have Sage 100 or an ERP, you can get it separate.
Absolutely. I have implemented it several times as simply a standalone CRM product.
Beautiful. I think that answers everybody's questions. Ken, thank you so much for the beautiful presentation today. Always a pleasure. And thank you all for spending a little bit of your time with us today. We really do appreciate that.